Alright, today I'm going to be talking about the autonomic nervous system, which is divided into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to talk about some of the neurotransmitters, the receptors, and the effector organs, and hopefully it'll help you out. So I'm going to start with the sympathetic nervous system. It's also called adrenergic because adrenergic is referring to the epinephrine and norepinephrine neurotransmitters that are involved in this system. So sympathetic, adrenergic. Sympathetic is fight or flight. So it's going to basically stimulate in your body organs that are going to help you run or fight. So what do you think you need when you're running? You're probably going to need some oxygen, and you're going to need oxygen to your heart, your lungs, and your muscles so you can run or fight. So you're going to think that these receptors are going to end up somewhere, heart, lungs, they're going to make you increase blood pressure or get things going. So basically, the sympathetic is a two-neuron system. So the first neuron is going to, it's going to be called the preganglionic neuron, and the neurotransmitter at both of them is acetylcholine. So for sympathetic, there are two neurons connected to two more neurons for simplicity of writing it down. So the two preganglionic neurons are going to give off the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, and then those are going to go to the postganglionic neurotransmitter or neurons, which are going to then go to their effector organs. So the postganglionic neurons can either give off epinephrine, norepinephrine, or acetylcholine. So epinephrine in this system for the postganglionic neuron is going to go right into the blood from the adrenal medulla. The norepinephrine is going to stimulate the effector organs with the receptor alpha 1, alpha 2, beta 1, beta 2, and beta. And the acetylcholine is going to stimulate the M2 receptor in the sympathetic nervous system. So remember, sympathetic, adrenergic. It's going to make you remember that in the sympathetic you're using norepinephrine and epinephrine. You're not just using acetylcholine. And it is a two-neuron system. So you're going to have the preganglionic neurons always giving acetylcholine, and the postganglionic neurons are either giving epinephrine, norepinephrine, or acetylcholine. So now I'm going to talk about the parasympathetic nervous system, also known as rest and digest. So in this system, you're really going to want to get the organs moving for the GI tract, the kidneys, all the organs you don't particularly need while you're running or fighting. So it's going to allow your body to really restore itself, because it's also known as rest and restore. So in this system, it's also a two-neuron system. The first neuron is the preganglion, is going to have a neurotransmitter of acetylcholine, and the postganglionic neuron is also going to have a neurotransmitter of acetylcholine. So when you're thinking of drugs affecting these systems, cholinergic drugs are going to affect the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. So when you hear parasympathetic, just think cholinergic. When you hear sympathetic, think adrenergic. So drugs are also called certain things that can help you decide what system it is innervating or affecting. So parasympathetic can also be called parasympathomimetic, which means to mimic the parasympathetic nervous system. And sympathetic drugs can also be called sympathomimetic, which are mimicking sympathetic drugs. So that's the autonomic nervous system simply. I'm going to cut this video off, and I'll probably make another one more specific about drugs affecting both of these systems. But that's an overview. Just know the sympathetic is your fight or flight, and the parasympathetic is rest and digest. And from there, everything else will fall into place.